Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, first off, I'd like to thank the Northern Miner for giving me this opportunity to speak here. It's a privilege and an honor to be able to showcase this story, relatively new story for the first time outside of Canada. Here's our forward-looking statements, and please take the time to read that. So Forte is a relatively new company, but it's been driven on 16 years of effort of exploration, generative work in Peru through our strategic private partner called Globetrotters Resources. So we started this with the same team we have today back in 2008. And it was essentially to build copper, porphyries, and high-sulphidation gold assets in the most prolific copper and gold belts in Peru, and develop a portfolio that we could move forward, joint venture out, and keep the best ones for ourselves to move 100% forward. So we've been trading publicly for about 3 years, and we're going to start drilling our first projects this year. Here's the 5 pillars that we'll go through from our strategic project partnership that I talked about with Globetrotters right through to pipeline projects for the majors and the mid-tiers. So our team has over 215 years of combined experience in exploration, 60 years of managing public companies. We have over 17 discoveries and acquisitions from our team members, 6 of which are in Peru, from Corani to Oyachea, the Constancia porphyry copper, Zafranal porphyry copper that Teck Resources is just greenlit for production, and amongst others. Peru's been our focus since 2004 when I first moved there to work on the Zafranal porphyry. It was a phenomenal discovery by Manuel Montoya, who's our exploration manager. He spent 25 years with Teck Resources, and we persuaded him away from Teck after Teck bought back interest in Zafranal with Mitsubishi. So this team you see here, Tom Henriksen, Manuel Montoya, myself, and Richard Osman, we started the project generator in 2008, and by 2019 we had 27 properties. We saved the best 4 for Forte and we spun them out in 2022, and we have spent the last 2 years drill permitting 3 of our projects. We got 50 million shares out, $12.5 million market cap, and $1.5 million of cash. We have enough cash here to support us for about 9 months and for our first drill program on Pucarini. The shares are extremely tightly held. You can see here we have about 75% in tight hands through management. Our strategic partner has 18%, and then long-term investors. This is a group of high net worth investors, from our family business at Haywood Securities that sticks with many of our deals that we've had success in, and it trades the way it does because of that control. So Peru, I mean, you've heard a lot about Peru, and it's the 2nd largest copper producer in the world. It's 9th in gold, it's 2nd in silver, but Peru had a late start in exploration. It's relatively untapped still. There's lots of opportunity to find discoveries on surface. You don't need to be looking at blind targets and deep. Chile's had much, over 70 years of exploration in Chile. So we made the move in 2004 from Chile into Peru, and we've had a lot of success there, and there's lots remains to be found and advanced, and I'll show you the portfolio. So here's the 4 projects that we saved out of our private company, spun them out into Forte a couple of years ago with retained equity and a 1% royalty back to the private entity. So 2 of them are high sulphidation gold projects and 2 porphyry copper moly projects in the Paleocene belt of southern Peru. The bottom 3 projects have a DIA drill permit. So as some of you may know, it takes 2 to 3 years to get these DIA drill permits in Peru. It historically has been a bottleneck, and it's something that has become more efficient and streamlined. But it does say something for your properties. To go through that process, they do have to have the prospective merits in order to go through that 2 to 3 years. It's not a process shareholders want to wait for. So fortunately, we have those 3 with drill permits. They're drill ready now. And then the one, excuse me, to the north is Altaruri. And Altaruri was discovered back in 1997 by Buenaventura. So you can see the first ever drill hole into this was 131 meters of 2.6 grams gold from surface, which had 54 meters of 5.4 grams. This is directly south of Barrick's Pierina mine. Barrick bought this asset for $800 million US in the early 90s from Forte Minerals. It was a David Lowell, Catherine McLeod Seltzer discovery. And they mined it for 20 years. 10 plus million ounces of oxide gold. Our project directly to the south is on a northwest fault system that you can actually see from this Landsat image. You can see the fault moving up from the red through to Pierina mine. It's often regarded as the other half of Pierina, but this sat dormant for 20 years because of access issues. It was controlled by several majors, and when a major dropped it in 2013, we were lucky enough to stake it the next day. So we've had this project for 11 years, but it was staked in competition with another major, and just recently we've taken 100% control and given that major a 1% royalty. So we spun it out into Forte, and we're going through the drill permitting. The access is opened up, and we've spent the last 6 months working with the community to get an access agreement to work on the drill permitting and move it forward. But this is why it was highly sought after by the mid-tier and major gold and copper companies. But the drill hole, the discovery hole was the first hole. They drilled 200-meter holes along this one section northwest corridor, and several years later they did a CSAMT resistivity survey that generated all these targets. So all the squiggly lines and the hatch lines are the high resistivity, and that's what we look for in these advanced argillic gold mineralized systems. We have the core to this day. We've resampled the core, and what we see is the same age mineralization as Pierina, the same alteration, and the same system. Volcanic classic hosted oxide gold. So, these are very hard projects to come by. Typically, this should have been discovered and advanced 20 or 30 years ago, but from some community hurdles, it was shelved and there was no access. So I'm happy to say now that there is access, and we're moving this forward 100%, and it's an exciting project for a junior to have. Esperanza's in the Paleocene belt. It's been age dated at 60 million years. It's next door to Cerro Verde. Well, 3 of the 10 largest copper mines in the world are right next door. It is the Park Lane address to be in for copper, and we strategically staked this in 2015 when a major dropped it. We now have the drill permits to get in there. It's never been drilled. It's got an incredible alteration footprint. As you can see, it's about 3 kilometers by 2 kilometers. The potassic alteration daylights. What's unique about this, as you know, with porphyry systems, is the enrichment blanket adds so much economic benefit in the first few years of mine operation, and this has a preserved leach cap and enrichment blanket, and it's supported by some high chargeability IP anomalies as well. So we just received the DIA drill permits for this, and this will be the second project we drill this year. But the first one we'll drill is this high-sulphidation gold system, which is in Puno region. It was an major property, I guess. I can't say who it was, but they dropped it. We staked it in 2013, advanced it through surface exploration and permitting, and we will drill this in March. It'll be the first project we drill as a public company in March, and the target here is from surface down 350 meters. On the right-hand side, you can see the high resistivity anomaly that coincides with the left, which is the soil gold geochem. We're getting up to 6 grams gold in rock. The average is about 1.5 grams in rock, and then here's the chargeability anomaly. So, the target is about 2 to 3 million ounces gold down to about 350 meters. It's going to be a small program to start, 4 holes, 1,200 meters. We're capitalized for this now, and we'll likely go to the market in March or April and raise more funds. Miscanthus, we just kind of fell into our lap, and was another phenomenon that you get through these downturns, and you know, it often takes an entire mining cycle to assemble a portfolio like this. Keep in mind, we paid $0 for all of our assets. It was just through our strategic partners. So we staked everything, and you got to be adaptive, versatile, patient, and persevere. But this came from 5 years of exploration work from a major, and they were forced to drop it in 2022. So we picked up all 5 of their projects. This was the best one. We spun it out into Forte, and it comes with a drill permit. So it's a porphyry copper target that we're going after here. They had a high-sulphidation gold anomaly that overprints the porphyry, telescope porphyries you can see here conceptually on the left, but really nice soil, moly, copper, and gold geochem to the right. And, you know, shockingly enough, they actually had a community agreement and drill targets in place. And they were forced to drop it from, you know, senior management, get rid of all the exploration projects, get rid of all the talent as well. So we picked up their best talent and all 5 of their projects into our private company and then spun this one out. So this one's ready to drill as well. Certainly we can't handle drilling all 3. The size of company we are, to take on 2 porphyry coppers and a gold system to drill in a year would be extensive. So, you know, the goal is to try and drill 2 of them this year and potentially look for a partner for this one here. It's a good place to be. We have beyond, you know, this company, there's 17 other projects that are at the exploration stage that are either drill ready or have been drilled. Our sister company, Element 29 Resources, made a significant discovery with Lundin Mining back in 2015. It's called the Elida porphyry, and it's in central Peru near the Antamina mine. And what's significant about this is that we found this from space. This was a satellite remote sensing aster target that we saw the alteration, the phyllic alteration. It should have been discovered 30 years ago, but there was a major river 5 kilometers away that no one ever wanted to cross. And because of that, it was never followed up on foot. And so we saw this aster imagery. We moved in 2013 to stake it, and in 2015 we drilled it with Lundin, and now it's proven to be a sizable porphyry pipeline project that's getting a lot of interest from the majors. So we have different copper and gold projects at different status or spectrum along the scale, from early exploration through to resource, and you know, we're well positioned for you know, prevailing copper gold market. Just in summary, some of our investment highlights. You know, it's a 12 million market cap. We've raised $4 million to date, and we have enough to drill this first project. So we're just getting started on drilling, testing some of these targets, moving these projects forward. But you know, it's taken 10 to 12 years to assemble this, to get them where they are today. And we love working in Peru. It's got a good tax regime. You know, every once in a while the government has a shakedown, but it always realigns in the you know, the right direction, pro mining. Most of the mid-tiers and majors would have been long gone from the country if they didn't see a future in mining. But ultimately, the prizes are too big there to walk away from, and that's why we're still there, and we still have the same team today. So thank you very much for listening to this presentation, and I'll entertain some questions if you have any.
Okay, any questions for Patrick? All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Patrick, and you got an inadvertent ringing endorsement from Ross Beatty saying he still thinks Peru is one of the best places to be operating in. So for what that's worth, there you go.